Hi, everyone. Today I will be presenting on how project managers can use artificial intelligence to improve risk management. Now, AI is transforming so many industries, but project management is an area where it can have immediate impact. Risk management has always been one of the most time-consuming and difficult parts of a project manager's job because it requires predicting the future and relying on assumptions, experience, and whatever data we can gather. AI gives us the ability to support that process with real-time data, pattern detection, and simulations that would take humans hours or potentially even days to perform. So in this presentation, I'll walk you through exactly how AI can help at each traditional stage in the risk management process, identifying risks, analyzing them, selecting mitigation strategies, and monitoring them throughout the project lifecycle. Now, before we talk about how AI enhances risk management, it's important to revisit what risk management traditionally looks like. So we start by identifying risks, basically brainstorming everything that could possibly go wrong in the project. Next, we analyze those risks to evaluate how likely they are and how big of an impact they might have. Then we create mitigation strategies, things that we can do ahead of time or if a risk occurs, and then how we will respond. Finally, we monitor risks to see if conditions have changed, if risks are becoming more or less likely, or if new risks are appearing. The challenge, historically, is that this process is often done in cycles. This could mean it's done weekly, monthly, or maybe it's just tied to project milestones. But projects change daily, so risks can emerge and escalate in between reviews. And another challenge is human judgment. So even the most experienced project managers have blind spots or biases, and sometimes we underestimate risks we're familiar with or overestimate ones that seem scary but are unlikely. And this is where AI steps in. So it doesn't replace project managers, but it instead strengthens the entire process. One of the biggest strengths of AI in risk management is its ability to broaden and deepen the identification stage. So when we use traditional brainstorming, the quality of our risk list depends heavily on who is in the room. If someone forgets something or doesn't speak up, that risk might be missed entirely. Now, large language models, such as ChatGPT, can supplement this by generating risk categories or examples that we might not have thought about on our own. For example, you can feed the tool a high-level project scope, again with no confidential details, and ask it to list possible risks related to budget, timeline, user adoption, or quality. And it's kind of like having an additional team member providing a fresh perspective. Now, beyond brainstorming, AI can analyze large volumes of historical project data. This involves lessons learned, performance reports, KPIs, and then it can identify common risk patterns from there. So instead of relying on memory, the AI brings insights from dozens or even hundreds of past projects. And predictive analytics can be especially powerful. If your project involves supply chains, resource constraints, or complex dependencies, AI can forecast risk signals very early on. For example, if projects experience delays due to equipment shortages, the AI may flag that before it even becomes visible to the team. And this early detection is often what prevents very small issues from becoming very big ones. Now, once risks are identified, AI can support deeper and faster analysis. AI has what we call cognitive analysis capabilities. And that means it can read things like emails, Slack messages, photos, or even meeting notes and extract insights. And you might be thinking humans can do this too, but not at the scale and speed of an AI system. For example, if communication patterns start showing frustration or delays, or if field photos reveal quality concerns, AI can detect signals earlier than a human reviewer. Another major advantage is simulation. Traditionally, a project manager might run only a few what-if scenarios due to time constraints. But AI can simulate hundreds or even thousands of possible scenarios, evaluating how delays in one part of the project ripple through the rest. And this helps project managers understand which risks have the highest potential impact, not just the ones that seem scary. And it turns risk prioritization into a more data-driven process instead of relying solely on intuition. AI also supports the decision-making process when we're developing mitigation strategies. So tools like nodes and links exist that allow project managers to test different mitigation plans without touching the actual project. So for example, we might simulate what happens if we shift resources, adjust timelines, add contingency buffers, or change vendors. And then instead of guessing, we can see the predicted impact before making the change in real life. Another advantage is that AI tools continuously learn from new data. So as project conditions change, the AI can refine its recommendations. And what may have been the optimal mitigation plan at the beginning of the project may actually not be the best plan halfway through, and then AI can help identify those shifts. And this helps project managers avoid static plans and instead develop dynamic, real-time mitigation strategies that adapt as the project evolves. And ultimately, this allows project managers to make smarter decisions faster while still maintaining full control over the process. Now, monitoring is where AI truly excels. With manual monitoring, project managers often depend on weekly status reports or periodic check-ins, but issues can escalate very quickly in between those updates. So AI tools allow for continuous real-time monitoring. And performance metrics, KPIs, resource usage, task progress, all of this data is analyzed automatically around the clock. So if something starts drifting from the plan, the AI can immediately alert the project manager. For example, if team velocity decreases, or if a contractor is falling behind, or if cost burn rates suddenly spike, the AI can flag these patterns long before the impact becomes visible in the schedule. And this enhances the traditional periodic review process by giving project managers the ability to intervene early rather than reacting after some damage is done. And it empowers project managers to be more proactive, which is the ultimate goal of risk management. So even with all of these advantages, it's important to acknowledge the challenges. First, project managers need new skills, understanding how AI works, how to interpret outputs, and how to validate AI recommendations requires training and practice. Second, change management can be a barrier. People are often hesitant to adopt new tools or processes, especially when they've been using traditional methods for so many years. Third, software integration is still evolving. AI solutions don't always plug seamlessly into project management platforms like Microsoft Project, and this can slow adoption and create workflow complications. Lastly, over-reliance on AI is a real risk. Project managers must remain engaged in the process, and AI can surface insights, but it can't understand organizational culture, human behavior, or political dynamics the way that a project manager can. So the goal here is not to replace human judgment, but rather to enhance it with better data and better tools. To wrap up, AI offers several powerful benefits to risk management. It provides real-time data tracking, it identifies risk patterns early, it can simulate many possible risk combinations, and it also offers personalized recommendations based on how the project is actually performing. These capabilities help project managers work more confidently and efficiently, reducing surprises and keeping projects on track, often without really even requiring additional time or resources of the project managers. Now, of course, like all emerging technologies, AI comes with its challenges, especially around training, adoption, integration, and maintaining human oversight. But when used effectively, AI becomes a complementary tool, one that strengthens each step of the risk management process while still relying on human expertise. So I hope you learned a little bit today, and thank you so much for listening.